What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Long Run Podcast. I know all of you have been missing us so much. I know that we promised that we would do so many reviews over the summer, but we never did. But here we are. I don't even remember what episode we're on, but today we're going to be reviewing It, the famous movie. It's an adaptation of the Stephen King novel, legendary author Stephen King, as well as a legendary novel, really.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I'm joined by some amazing people, some of my favorite people in the world. You can already hear one of their voices right now. We also have some newcomers today, so I'm gonna just go around. To the left of me is Andrew.
Ascended. Now Andrew won a contest. We had a lot of fans write in to get in on this podcast, but Andrew proved his loyalty to be probably our number one fan. Andrew has said that he has used our podcast to see whether he should go see a movie or not. So obviously we had to have him. Welcome, Andrew.
Well, thank you for having me, guys.
I'm so excited.
I'm so happy to be here. I've listened to every single podcast. I'm a huge fan. I'm very grateful to be here, and I can't wait to review with you guys.
Woo! Yeah, man. Glad to hear it. We're happy to have you on. Austin and Jake have both spoken a lot about you. Obviously, they know you better than many other people here, but glad to have you on. And of course, next to him is one of my best friends in the entire world. It is Jacob Kupferberg. How you doing today, man?
I'm kind of nervous because in about what is it,
6 hours?
6 hours, I have to get in a car and drive to the wild west that is Chicago.
Wild West. Now, if you want, why don't you tell the people what exactly you're up to?
What I'm going to do?
Yeah. Why are you going to the Wild West of Chicago?
Wild West, to stake my claim in the
new Manifest Destiny, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about, right?
There's gold out in them hills. I gotta get there. But I'm gonna be doing a PhD program in motherfucking Chicago. Mm-hmm. Well, technically north of Chicago, in Northwestern. But don't think that means that I'm gone, bitches.
Jake lives on.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Jacob is actually he's alluded to this. He's told you to find him on ResearchGate multiple times. He is on there. He does have his name on a certain amount of what's the proper term for it? It's not
papers.
I'm only on one paper.
It's not papers. I'm sorry. He does have his name on there, and he's educated me on many things that have to do with material science that usually just go over my head. But next to him, of course, we have a staple of the Long Run Podcast, another one of my best friends in the entire world. It is Austin Hicks. He's punching the air just like Conor McGregor.
I'm scrapping.
He's doing the noodle, but he's ready. He's happy to be
really
here.
Excited.
How you doing, man?
I'm really excited. I just love when we all get together and we have. And I'm really sad that we're all going to be so separate once the school year begins.
You kidding? You're all at Rutgers.
I know, but you especially, Jake. I'm gonna miss you a lot, and I cherish these moments that we are together. And I'm happy to have we have a pretty cool cast tonight. So.
And of course, joining. That is right next to him. It is Austin's actual brother.
Right.
It is Rob Hicks. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'm here because of cronyism.
Riding on my coattails.
Now, for the people, have you listened to any of the episodes that your brother has been featured on?
The Finding Dory one.
Okay.
The whole thing?
That was recorded in this very same place. Very same place. Yeah. Right now, we're actually at Austin Hicks' house. We're in his beautiful porch.
Yes. Our last podcast that we were here was Finding Dory, and it was actually our most popular one. So I'm hoping the same magic occurs here.
This has to be the magic charm or whatever.
Something
right?
about the atmosphere. I don't know. I have candles lit because it's kind of a scary movie. I wanted a different atmosphere. We got candles lit.
Right.
I wondered if that would affect our casting. We'll see how it goes.
All right. And are you excited to be here? Are you as excited as Andrew? Like, how are you feeling right now?
There's no way.
All right, man. Good to hear. And of course, next to him is another staple of the Long Run Podcast. Someone that has had his voice heard many times. It is Evan Chung. How you doing today, man? Well, he's eating some chips. Hold on. Give him a second.
No chips, no dip.
Yo, I'm hungry, B.
Yeah.
That basically sums it up.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's get right into it. We're going to be talking about Stephen King's It. It is the 2017 horror film. Now, this is different. This is different from the 1990s miniseries that appeared on TV. Do you guys have any experience with that TV series? Did it scare you growing up? I know for a lot of people, that's the reason why they're scared of clowns, is because they caught that on TV and they just can't forget it.
I have only seen bits and pieces of it. I love Tim Curry with a passion, and I've seen. That's the only parts of it I have seen. I have not seen the whole thing at all, personally.
Well, for me, I saw it years ago when I was maybe 9 years old. That's when I started getting into horror, the horror genre. and I could surely say that maybe it's kind of died out with age a little bit because like I just watched it today, and it really didn't freak me out at all. I found it to be more corny, if anything.
Honestly,
but
I agree.
the original.
The one from the 1990 miniseries.
Yeah.
It's the thing is like the 1990 miniseries really like I think it has a lot of nostalgia just because of like Tim Curry's performance, which is definitely really the highlight of it. But at the same time, you have to remember this is a made-for-TV thing. It wasn't like on HBO, so they had a lot of restrictions and a lot of things that they couldn't show that we saw today, right?
I think the first half of the Tim Curry version was probably the strongest, and then the second half was just downhill from there with the adults and everything.
Did anybody else have any experience with the 1990 miniseries at all?
So as well.
Was that was there another movie or just the miniseries?
It's just the miniseries, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, because I have no idea. I stayed away from that shit.
Okay. Well, probably for the best. How about you, Evan?
Well, like I said, I've seen like parts of it, and I don't know. I don't think it really aged well. It is kind of
Agreed.
a product of the time.
Have any of you read the novel? I'm pretty sure that Clemson has, right?
I read.
You read
I didn't
you read
the
it?
entire novel. I read first probably 200 pages.
And this is
pages?
like a
It's a
1,000-page
lot. Yeah,
book,
it's a
right?
big
book.
It's huge.
It's
It's
a
huge.
big
So, well, first off, how come you didn't finish? Was it too scary or?
Well, no, it was. I was 200 pages in, and it still felt like the exposition stage.
Oh wow, Jesus! Oh my God.
Yeah.
How big is the font? No.
It was
It was tiny.
It was tiny.
Stephen King has he usually just writes a lot in his books. Like from what I read with The Shining, he just like writes a long time, and it takes a while to build up to the actual suspense in the books. But
Did you find that with The Shining? I know you read that too.
No, The Shining flowed a lot more than it. It
Agreed.
was a much more difficult undertaking. But with it wasn't scary when I was reading it, but I had a lot of nightmares from it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. So it
It
like
got-
played on
got
your
under my,
it like played in your subconscious because
yeah.
like well obviously when you're reading a book you're using your imagination, right, to fill in like what you're reading. So I guess it just kind of plays in subconsciously then. That's interesting. So you read the novel. That's gonna be good for at least getting some opinion on what you saw in the film. But even before that, I think like you were mentioning before, I think it's important to explain the context of how like this movie kind of comes into how movies are today, right? So I'm a pretty big fan of horror. I like horror as a genre. I like being scared and the kind of genre conventions that come with it. But let's be real, guys. There hasn't been a really good horror film in years.
yeah,
A lot of people like to mention the Conjuring films. I personally was never that big of a fan of them. They had good bits and pieces, and I don't mean to like disrespect all the people who put a lot of time and work into them, like James Wan and all those other really great filmmakers. But personally, I haven't had a film that saw a horror film that really got to me, or I felt was really well crafted since Sinister.
really that long?
Yeah, I haven't felt anything. How are you guys feeling about, I guess, the current state of horror and going into this film?
Well, for me, the last horror movie that actually scared me was, believe it or not, ironically speaking, it was the Conjuring movie, the first one.
Right.
I think that was like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that one actually freaked me out the most. But I'm that type of guy that likes to see the horror movies like you. I find the thrill of it like to be appealing and very fun. So it takes a lot for me to get freaked out, and like just to get on that type of thrill again, it's just like really hard for me, just because I think I'm a little bit more immune to it. Yeah.
How about you guys? How about anyone else?
I wouldn't call
opinions?
myself a horror fan, and I see them occasionally. I don't seek them out on my own. I usually someone else brings me.
Sure.
But I disagree. I enjoyed I enjoyed Get Out. I enjoyed It Follows as well.
Both great movies.
I think they're good. Like I think the difference. Well, I suppose I should be more clear. It's just more like I haven't been truly scared by a film. It's not that like Get Out's a great film. It's just I wasn't particularly like
Get Out.
scared.
I can understand
frightened.
Get
Yeah.
Out, but I enjoy It Follows is really good, and that messed with me a little bit. I think the last time I got scared in a movie was Paranormal Activity 2, because that was a lot of people like the first one better. The first one that I saw was the second one. I think that's why I like it better.
Right.
I thought the first one was like okay. I enjoyed that a lot. I don't know what year that was.
That was 2005. 2005.
Damn, yeah.
No, that was 2010.
2010.
The second one.
Second one was 2010. Okay.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you scared of these movies though? Or were
Yes.
you unnerved?
No, I was scared.
Okay.
I was not. I did not want. I had the light on. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Right.
first Paranormal Activity really got under my skin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that one was
I
scary.
think I enjoyed Lights Out.
Mm-hmm. The horror film that was released. That was last year.
It was last year.
Right.
That was a lot of. I was scared in the theater, but not afterwards.
Right.
So probably the only film in recent memory to make me scared afterwards was Paranormal Activity, the first one.
Interesting. How about you, Jake and Evan? Anything or?
I think Insidious was the last one. That or Event Horizon,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
which
yeah.
y'all should watch.
Yeah.
I've been
I
saying
want
it
to.
for like 10 years.
How about you, Evan?
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of horror, I guess, compared to everyone else in the room. Like, I enjoy the odd horror movie, but like one of the things about horror films, like I rarely find myself being scared
Mm-hmm.
by them.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, if I want to get scared, I'll usually just watch the news. Like that'll do it for me.
Okay.
So horror really does nothing for me in
Right.
that aspect. But I like I like horror movies that play more on like the psychological kind of aspect or like the atmosphere.
So did you
Right.
see Get Out then?
Yeah, I saw Get Out. Get Out was the film itself wasn't scary. Like like I wasn't like scared in the theater, but like the implications were horrifying.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
For my POC.
It's not
out
what you're
there.
seeing on screen. It's what's on screen. What it actually means. That's kind of horrifying.
And I think this movie had a lot of that kind of like.
For sure. For
It's
sure.
really, really unnerving, in a lot of ways, both in like the supernatural ways and the very down to earth ways.
Yeah, but we'll definitely get into that.
Talk
So,
about that.
so going into this film, right? We all like horror is kind of in this weird state where it's seen as it's not really respected. It's seen as kind of just like a good cash grab and for good reason.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're cheaply made and they make an insane amount of profit. But at the same time, too, when you announce something like this iconic novel, and also this iconic, I guess, urban legend or legend, whatever you want to call it, of horror itself, right? Everyone's scared of clowns because of it, right? That's the listen, man, the clowns, like every single clown that's in employment right now is like, well, I guess I don't have a job no more because no one's gonna hire a clown
Yeah.
after
the
seeing
kid's
this film.
birthday
No
party,
one,
yeah.
never.
Come on, mime
true.
instead, all right?
Man, clown college, man, that's going downhill. Like they
there
gotta
were,
close down.
Middle schoolers in our theater, which surprised me.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
I mean, those poor children.
No, kids love.
Horror. For
Yeah,
some
kids
reason.
love
I bet
horror.
this was
They
great
love
for
getting
them. I
scared.
bet this
Oh
was
yeah,
a
I'm sure.
fantastic
I'm
movie
sure.
for
I'm
them.
sure.
There was a whole like all that Five Nights at Freddy's shit. That's those
Yeah.
kids.
That's
true.
their
That's
stuff,
those
man.
middle
That's
schoolers.
their
True.
stuff. So, how many of you guys actually saw the trailers and were you hyped going into this film?
I didn't.
I saw every single trailer that was that came out for the movie. I was really pumped about it.
Mhm.
And just going back to what you said about how it like reinforces your scare of clowns.
Mhm.
I was I have had a huge phobia of clowns like almost my whole life.
Mhm.
So it was almost like the backbone of why I'm like terrified of clowns today.
Sure.
It's just like it's just been getting so much worse since the whole It thing's been going on.
Mhm.
But I'm a huge fan of the movies and everything.
Were you really hyped for it coming out based on the trailers? Or?
Oh yeah, like I was so excited about the release date. I was texting all my friends like, "Oh, I want to see this movie. Oh, we should go see it." And deep down, I actually didn't want to see it, but it's been a while since I've been freaked out, so I was kind of
Sure.
like hyped up to get freaked out again. So
Sure.
definitely lived up to that.
Anyone else check out the
One
trailers?
thing that made me nervous about the trailers was the actual look of Pennywise.
Right, that was very controversial. Go ahead.
Because if you look at the 1991, Tim Curry looks like any other clown. If like kids saw him, he might be tempting to befriend. But if you saw this guy in the store, you would run away. He looked like a stereotypical horror villain, which isn't as scary as the 1991.
Right, I remember another veteran of the podcast, Matt Libnick, he brought up the same criticism of the look of Pennywise. But we'll get more into the film. One thing that I do want to bring up before we really get into the nitty-gritty, I was personally very nervous about this film because originally when it was getting developed, it was actually going to be written and directed by Cary Fukunaga. And Cary Fukunaga is the guy who directed Beasts of No Nation, which is on Netflix.
Oh, damn.
Definitely check it out. And he also directed all the episodes of True Detective Season 1. So I was very, very hyped for that because True Detective Season 1 is, in my opinion, the best season of TV ever filmed. But at the same time, once he left, I got very, very nervous about who was going to be, taking up that mantle.
I heard also that the brothers of Stranger Things, the director, those two directors were supposed to direct this movie too.
They were definitely involved as well. And there's even some one of the actors from Stranger Things is in here as well.
They were both. I mean, Stranger Things was an homage to like Stephen King stuff, and I mean this was just Stephen King. So
This literally is Stephen King. So
did you see Stranger Things, Andrew?
No.
Oh,
you should definitely check that out.
It's good.
Definitely check that out.
Did you get freaked out by Stranger Things?
I definitely got like. There's definitely a couple episodes where I was like, oh man, this is kind of crazy. Like I'm getting goosebumps, but it wasn't like when I went to sleep or anything. I was scared or anything like that.
Definitely.
No, I think there was one episode where we were all kind of like we couldn't sleep.
Really?
For a little bit.
There's definitely like there's an episode I want to say it was like episode 3 or 4 where we were just like, oh my god,
really?
That was crazy.
Yeah, like I left my door open. I was like, Ethan, can I sleep with you?
I thought it was a movie, so it's an
actual.
It's
a show.
It's a mini series, or it's a show on Netflix. So definitely check it out.
Season 2's coming out soon.
You gotta check that out.
No clowns though, but it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
For sure. But anyway, so going to the film. I was kind of skeptical. I heard a lot of good things. It's gotten a lot of buzz critically as well as through audiences. So a lot of hype going into the film. And for me, I'm gonna go right out the bat and say I liked it. Maybe it was a bit overhyped, but I definitely really enjoyed. This is like from the way I thought about it when it was finally over. It was like this was basically like an amusement park ride. Like it was just once it got started, it just kept on going. And like there's very few chances to breathe, but it's very exciting. There's always action going on and. For me, I really enjoyed it, even though I honestly wasn't that scared by it.
Yeah, I agree. I was telling my brother on the way home that I'm not used to having quote unquote movie monster on the screen. Like this is like a Freddy Krueger. This is a Jason Voorhees. This is something that has a lot of screen time. I'm seeing it do the scary things. As opposed to a lot of other stuff, like I'm trying to remember Conjuring, but even like stuff I like It Follows, it's always. It's alluded to. Things are either going on in the background and I'm not seeing the entity, or I'm only seeing glimpses of it. I'm not used to seeing so much screen time of Pennywise was very strange to me, and I almost feel like that's less scary. Yeah, and I don't know if that's just me. I know it's an older way of doing things, having a movie monster that attracts crowds. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting because it's been a while since we've had that.
How do you guys feel about the screen time that Pennywise got?
Call me biased, still about having a huge fear of clowns, but every single time he came on the screen, I felt my heart just literally stop. I think Adam and Austin both saw that. But honestly, what got me through this, my favorite part of the movie, how they just banded together, and they were able to defeat this whole thing with friendship and love, pretty much. And we can relate to them as kids, because what's the scariest thing about this movie is we can all relate to them in a way that we all had a fear when we were younger.
Going to the basement.
Going to the basement, monster under the bed, whatever you name it, pretty much. And what makes this movie so scary is that it's relatable in a way where we all have that one fear. And thinking about that one fear when we were younger, it just brings back really bad nostalgia memories or something like that.
To piggyback off that, I think Andrew said every time it came on screen, he freaked out. And I think that's probably why they gave it so much screen time. Everybody knows the implications of that clown. Every time they see it, it all comes back, it probably all comes back. Everything that it represents, everything. So that's probably why they gave it a lot of screen time, because the movie is known. And also, I mean, like, every time he was on screen, it was just, they did not hold back with, showing the stuff, like, showing, like, this freaky stuff.
Like, if you came here to see, like, a monster flick, you got it.
Yeah.
This wasn't like, like Godzilla or like Babadook, where you barely ever saw the monster. Like, no, like you see it, it's everything. There. They shoved it in your face multiple times.
The very beginning when he ripped off of Billy's arm.
Oh yeah.
Just like I as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh man, this is about to get real. This is about to get real.
Evan and Rob, how'd you guys feel about Pennywise's screen time?
I could have used a bit more subtlety throughout the whole movie. The balloons were a big part of the book. Yeah. You didn't always see Pennywise, but you saw the balloons, so you knew that he was responsible for whatever just happened. I could have done without the sound effects.
Like what?
Like whenever you saw a balloon, you heard the little children laughing. It would have been just as scary, I think, just seeing a balloon amongst all the normalcy going on. Another thing, I think they could have devoted a bit more time to his I guess you'd call them antics. Like in the 1990 movie, one scene that always scared me was the kid was taking a shower, and then he turned around and there's four walls of shower, and a balloon comes through the drain. I think it could have done with things like that, because I think the scariest part of him is not what he looks like, but the fact that he fucks with your reality.
Oh, so it was just him turning the shower into a 4-door shower?
Yeah, like four.
Like when the showers were like coming at that one kid, right?
Oh, and that's it. Right.
I can agree with you.
No, I understand what you're saying.
We've both seen the TV miniseries, so it's almost like this movie was definitely they toned down Pennywise to not be so funny, and they made him a lot more scary, I would say. Right. They definitely took out his funny antics.
I almost wonder if that was kind of a response to, like, you know how Freddy from the Nightmare on Elm Street series, he's known for being like playful and like funny and like cracking jokes and not being, as you know, just straight scary and trying to kill you. I wonder if they like maybe wanted to avoid like comparisons between the two or something like that.
Maybe
if he was more playful in that sense.
He was playful at times. Like there was definitely like I think towards the end more so when he had the kids, he was kind of like, you know, fucking around with it, making jokes, but I mean, like, you know, off-color jokes, of course, but they were still like he was cracking jokes
until it was explained that he personalized the attacks based on their fears. I didn't really understand why some of the kids were attacked by what they were. Like it just seemed sort of it just seemed like gratuitous nonsense at times before I knew the context. Like the kid, the little germaphobe kid who got attacked by the leper.
Right.
I didn't really know where that came from. Like, oh, suddenly we're in a zombie movie. I thought it was a zombie. Like, oh, we're in a zombie movie now. Like, what is this?
I mean, I personally, I definitely didn't know it was a leper.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I definitely didn't know.
Now I understood eventually what Pennywise was doing, but I just thought it was, this is cheap thrills? Like, why is this old man attacking this boy now? But now, then I got it.
So was Bev scared of her period? Was that the reason?
I think she was scared of like almost like
her dad
growing up and like
and it was embarrassing.
Yeah, I think it was a combination of her father. Yeah,
it was
a lot of things.
It was because her hair also attacked her too.
Yeah, because she cut off her hair.
She cut off her hair
because her father touched it.
So it's just a big.
There's a lot of stuff that has to relate to her father and kind of just like, I guess, sex and whatnot, and all that kind of shit. But I'd have to agree with Austin and to a lesser extent Andrew too. I think that for me, the more I saw Pennywise, the more I was just like, well, this is turning into an action flick. We're just like, all right, he's here.
Here we go.
There was like this, I want to say 20-minute like segment in the movie. There was like every single scene had Pennywise in it, and I was like, all right, guys, let's relax a little bit. Maybe let's throw in some character development. Like let's like, you know, take things a bit slow. I know he's gonna be there anyway. One of my favorite scenes in the movie, because I agree with Rob as well that I think a little subtlety could have gone a long way, was when you first meet. I'm sorry, I don't remember the fat kid's name, honestly.
Ben.
Ben. Okay. Thank you. When Ben was first in the library, and then like the librarian gives him the book, and as he's looking through the book, like the librarian's in the back of him, and she looks freaky as hell, and it's like, all right, well, I guess that's Pennywise kind of thing. Like you know something's gonna happen. I thought that was brilliant. I thought him trying to get the Easter eggs the tension was good, even though he's an idiot for doing it.
There's a lot of that.
He's a huge idiot for doing that.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. But for me, I quickly became not scared of Pennywise because I saw him so many times. I feel like the more you see the monster, usually the less scared you get of them. And it became more of me wondering, okay, so what's Pennywise gonna do now? What's the how's he gonna separate them? What's the tactic that he's gonna use to try and win? That became the thrill for me. I really wasn't that scared during the film.
Yeah.
Because the main characters really weren't in danger. You were more scared in the beginning when people were getting taken and there was actual consequence. Because like even when Pennywise cornered them and did the whatever happened, like they ended up fine. They like opened the door and stuff like that. Yeah, just or even
the first time in the house.
Not even like before then. Like when shit was happening to them.
Oh, okay.
They would they'd all get out of it, and that's important because you don't want to just kill off your characters.
Yeah.
But it kind of removed that level of, I guess, what is the word?
Threat.
Yeah, you remove that threat. It made it less, I guess.
Serious.
It's like that word where you can't escape it kind of thing.
Inevitable.
Yeah, less inevitable.
Maybe that helps the audience identify with the ending, the fact that the kids weren't scared of him anymore. Because towards the end, in the final scene, I thought to myself like I see you for what you are, Pennywise, and not that scary. Like you're not that.
I think the director wanted so much screen time for Pennywise to just like get that into your head a little bit, to push it really psychologically into people. I think Pennywise got so much screen time because the more you saw him, it played like mental games on the audience a little bit. I mean, at least it did for me, because it's like your fears are getting thrown back at you every single time. And that was the purpose of Pennywise. And Pennywise, like for each of the characters, he would show different fears, and it was almost like he was shoving it in their faces a little bit, like constantly harassing them with that. And that's just my take on it.
That's what was so scary about the book, that just got the vibe that there was no safety. No matter what.
Right.
Yeah, that was definitely something I noticed too. Like, the more I saw Pennywise, the more stuff that I saw him do, I was like, all right, like, there's got to be some rules here. What can he and what can he cannot do? Like, he's like doing like the blood thing in the bathroom. Then he's just like transforming and chasing people. I'm like, all right, well, what is his power? Like, what? There has to be a rule where he can't do this.
Nope. He's a demon.
I think in the book he's described as a shapeshifter, if I'm correct. Like he turns into the fears that the
it
kids.
seems like that. Certainly.
Yeah, he definitely had unlimited appearances.
I mean, adults are useless, and
they see him as a clown because that's all they can see. I think that's what the book says.
I mean, like certainly he's a shapeshifter, considering he like changed his arms into like fucking like sights and whatnot.
Oh,
so he definitely like.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. I mean, at that point it turned into a video game, but. That's okay. I think that I have to agree with Andrew. I think the strongest part of the film is the performances, yes, but I think the overall arc and theme of the movie, which is fear, overcoming your fears, and how fears have a tendency to control you. I think was very, very powerful. And it was really nice to see the kids overcome their fears.
I was surprised that they did that. I was surprised that it ended in that fashion. It was very they conquered Pennywise.
Yeah.
Pennywise, once you rob him of his power over you, he doesn't have anything.
Yeah, which
is really surprising to me.
I agree. I think it's a very unique way to, because we're so used in horror films to like there being some sort of epic showdown where like there's a priest who has the in the name of the Father and the Son, he's reading from the Bible, and he's got the cross out, and then of course there's some holy water, and then there's always like some girl that's possessed that is doing like the body horror stuff. But this time it was like literally like they were using conventional weapons that any of us could use. Yeah, and
they had each other too.
Yeah, like you said, friendship, right?
Right.
Friendship always wins. And they just won. You know what I mean? And they banded it together, and I think that was a good way to surprise the audience in terms of how it ended. But at the same time, I also, like I said, at that point it's not scary anymore, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
I think the Pennywise became less scary. I mean, I think Andrew said this, but I'm just going to reiterate because I thought it was an interesting point. The more you saw him, the less scared you get of him, which is, I guess, because you see him as not a threat. He's not actually like doing anything to you, which kind of, I guess, mentally prepare. You kind of put you in the kid's shoes of how they can kind of overcome him towards the end. But I think the other point I wanted to make was that I think, like, towards the end of the film, Pennywise ceases to be scary, but then everything else in the town becomes very scary and very because it's like. So the first thing that happens is that the bully kid, who's kind of fucked up to begin with.
Oh man,
he kills his father with his own switchblade.
What was his name again?
At Pennywise's urging, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, like
I don't remember either.
So he got messed up or something in the head by Pennywise, but
he was already pretty violent. It looked like
he became he was a scary threat because he was like
a bully that was unhinged. I was this dude isn't bullying. He's like literally like this is a crime. He's doing like first-degree murder.
Carving his name into the poor kid's belly.
Yeah,
that was.
Oh my god.
So he was always like a background fear throughout, but then he kind of became more frightening and more dangerous to the end, and then his father seemed like kind of
probably abusive.
So that was another fear that came up. You have Bev's implied pedophile father.
Yeah.
That was scary. You have the mother who was like
the overbearing mother
who was also like much more freaky than
gave him fake pills.
Yeah, it was
or
like
something.
It was weird, as if like they all kind of became possessed by Pennywise in a sense. I don't know if that was.
I think they were
Pennywise
tormented by
influenced them?
Pennywise through the fears that they already had.
Yeah, that's true.
You think he changed them to the point where they rebelled against their parents? Is that
No,
what you're trying to say?
I think Pennywise is playing on the fear. I think Andrew said it.
Right.
Pennywise is playing on the fear.
Because if you notice, all the kids stood up to their fears
Yeah.
eventually,
Mhm.
and that's what made them stronger. And once they were banded together, because if they were singled out by themselves, they were a lot weaker.
Yeah.
But once they were together, that's where their strength was.
The entire arc of the film is in the beginning of the film they define each person's fear. Besides the kid from Stranger Things, but he literally tells us what his fear is.
Yeah.
And then the entire film is them trying to overcome those fears, overcoming them, and realize that that's their strength, and that's how they defeat Pennywise. You see every single one of them overcome them in some way
Yes.
or form.
Yes.
It seemed like Pennywise pounced when they were at their weakest. The one bully, the psycho one, didn't see Pennywise at all until his father
That's
humiliated
a good
him.
point.
I almost felt like he was like a Pennywise Jr. in a sense.
maybe.
Like taking up, like not in a real sense, but almost like he was like the Pennywise for a human.
Right, he
You know
was
what I mean?
the real world terror.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
exactly.
That Pennywise can lynch. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, that was like the more freaky part of the movie was just how fucked up all these adults in this town
Yeah.
were.
I understand, well, for one thing, I felt like the film did a bad job of kind of truly explaining how many people were missing. Because it seemed like there's only like 3 or 4, and then the kid's like, yeah, there's like 6 times the national average. It's like, well, how many people are missing? Because that's kind of important to like you feeling like, oh my god, this is a problem.
And it makes you wonder, like, why the
There's a
fuck is
whole-
nobody doing
Yeah,
it?
why does no one care? Oh yeah, there's a curfew. Yeah, good job, guys. Maybe we should go looking around for these people.
Like, for some reason the town just seems like every
Trapped.
single parent seems uncaring. Every adult seems really irresponsible. And
Or damaged.
we're damaged, and they
Monstrous.
just don't take care of their kids.
It's
And-
almost like they're focused on themselves and not the kids, and that's why they don't really see what's going on. Because
Yeah.
they're so focused on like, that's what makes them so evil. Because they're all focused on themselves in this movie. If you notice that,
Mm-hmm.
like the dad is like very, like the dad of the bully is very into himself. It looked like,
Is he? I didn't see much other than the time he got stabbed.
well, yeah. But
He
then
was
there's
just a cop, I think.
He seemed kind of violent though.
Yeah, he was a violent cop. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just came up with like a little fan theory. Pennywise has been in the same area for his entire existence, right?
Yeah.
That same town in Maine,
As far as we know.
as far as we know.
Is it
right,
Maine?
right. Yeah, it's Derry, Maine.
Oh.
Most Stephen King stuff takes place in Maine.
Oh,
Northeast.
I didn't know. Go ahead.
I feel it could be. You could say that perhaps it was a planned thing on Pennywise's part to create such terrible people across the generations.
Mhm.
Keep traumatized people. They grow up. They have kids. They probably do a bad job.
Mm-hmm.
That you eliminate those ties, those strong family ties, so it singles out the kids. It makes them more independent. That's when he pounces, and so on and so forth, to the point where he can get a good meal every 27 years he comes
Yeah,
back.
27.
and
Yeah.
the funny thing about this movie is it was 27 years after the first one.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
1990.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Mm.
cool. That was just
find
a
that
cool little
very
fan theory that I feel like it'd work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he has a grip on
On the
town's
town.
morale.
Mhm.
This town is cursed.
And that would explain why all of these people are so terrible.
Yeah. So how did you guys feel? Let's talk more about the kids. How did you guys feel about the kids? Did you find any of them underdeveloped, or were any of them annoying? Because for me personally, I think the one who stole the show, as much as Billy was really, really good, I think the Stranger Kids kid,
Richie?
he stole the film in terms of being the most, by far the most charismatic one out of every single one of them.
He was
Yeah.
by
He
far
sort
the
of- he got on
funniest.
my nerves
Yeah.
a bit.
Stranger Things
I
kid.
agree.
Yeah, just again and again with the
one-liners.
comedic breaks when
Yeah.
there maybe shouldn't have been comedy.
He was almost like the comic relief in the movie, though.
Well, I mean, he is, but I feel like he's the audience and being like, this is stupid. Like, are you caring? This is actually happening right now. This is so stupid. Like, I feel like, for me, I just thought that he was by far the one that had the most charisma as an actor, and like,
Mhm.
he embodied his character. I felt like, I'm sorry, I don't remember the Jewish kid's name.
I don't know.
I-
Stanley.
I feel like they barely gave him anything.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because I feel like there's something there.
Mhm.
And I would have liked to have seen, again, I don't remember his name. Sorry, I would have liked to have seen more of what the black
Germaphobe kid?
yeah, the black kid.
Oh, the black kid.
I would have
Oh.
liked to have seen.
oh,
more
he got
about
very
him.
little screen time.
Yeah,
he got
very,
very
very.
little.
He like
Well, in fact,
he
we
felt so
opened with
tacked.
him, though.
It was like so tacked on.
Mhm.
Um,
But
He
we
had like
opened
maybe
with him.
fine lines.
I know, but
Yeah.
We barely find anything out about him.
He had a pretty heavy backstory too.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like one of the saving forces in the
exactly
in the movie. And he also had a pretty scary like arc himself too, of just like
being okay with
what?
Well, like with the first scene we saw him, he was struggling with killing the lambs that I guess his family business is. Mm-hmm. And then after like all of the Pennywise trauma, he's just like killing them left and right with his dad, and that was pretty sad.
Yeah, and also kind of getting like racially attacked.
Well, yeah, that too, by the bullies.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was implied. Now, like he's got some scary shit going on.
One thing that surprised me, but I don't. Again, it probably ruined the scariness of the movie, but I kind of enjoyed it. Was during a lot of the moments where they're together, and it happened a lot with the Pennywise fight scenes when they're all just like piling onto him. There are a lot of funny moments where they would just like these outbursts that they would have. Like there was one moment when Pennywise like vomited poop onto the germaphobe kid. And he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you! and it made me really laugh because it was like such... But it's kind of believable because it's like, oh my god! But he still wanted to keep going.
Right.
And I enjoyed that, but it still made me laugh and it broke some of the tension. But I really enjoyed kind of how realistic that was. And that happened a few times with the Stranger Things kid. He was just like, fuck you! You know, and I think that happened in his clown scene, his like fear of clown scene. Where he was like a stupid clown. He would like knock on them and say... And then the clown popped out of the coffin. He's like, that's pretty scary.
I think the germaphobe kid was probably my favorite kid.
He was good.
In the movie.
He was good.
In all honesty.
I think he did a lot. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but why is like most of the, not only the adults, why are the kids such like dicks? Like,
what?
Remember like when the girl drew on germaphobe's cats and like losers? Like, what's wrong with you? That's just mean.
And when they dumped the water on Beverly in the bathroom,
with garbage,
it was like, oh my god.
I was like, what's wrong with you people?
What the hell happened in like the 1980s? Like, whenever we see a window into that era, like high school is just hell.
I almost think that Pennywise has something to do with it though.
Could be
like the town itself is just poisoned. You know what I mean? Like the adults don't care anymore. The kids are just rebellious and terrible.
They're all like mean and jaded.
Yeah.
I mean, the bully. He did what he did because he was a scared motherfucker. He's a paper man.
He's
a paper man. So it's probably the same with that. Like, typically, I think, and maybe Austin can pitch in here.
What?
I mean, like, do bullies, are they just, like, kind of scared? Are they lashing out? You know?
I don't think you can universally say that all bullies are scared. Some say there's attention. There's maybe feel because he's powerless at home.
Yeah.
He asserts power over people who are smaller than him, which would probably make sense for his family situation because that dad looked overbearing as fuck, and he's a cop. So I would imagine that's the case, and that's why he he has his two henchmen, and they bullied the small people, and he'll like carve his name because that's it's control. It's control that he doesn't have.
I guess you could say that he's scared of his dad, whatever. People are scared of the girl perhaps because she's not unclean, she's not a virgin or whatever.
Yeah,
it's kind of a fear in itself. The other kid is an outsider. The black kid's an outsider. That's scary for a lot of people, I guess. Kind of
he still felt like an outsider at the end too.
Yeah.
He really didn't fit well in the movie because he only had like maybe 5 minutes of screen time. If they gave him more screen time,
he never felt like he was actually part of the group. Like you never got the impression that they were actually friends with him. You got the impression that they just accepted him into the group and like, hey, come on. But like Beverly felt like she was actually friends with him.
I really like this character. I think he should have gotten more screen time. This character.
Evan, how'd you feel about the performances of the kids?
I mean, I thought they worked really well as an ensemble. I thought they played off each other pretty well. I thought for the most part they definitely got like that youthful energy down and like the quips. I will say the one stranger kid, I thought he was pretty annoying. I found his character to be insufferable, and I felt like I was the only one not laughing in the theater whenever he would just quip. Yeah, that kid should be in a Marvel movie. The amount of quips he was making.
That's true.
But yeah, I thought it was. I don't know. I thought it worked.
I think for me, I thought Billy was by far the one who gave the best like actual performance. Like when he was talking with Georgie at the end, and like when he overcame his fear by shooting Georgie in the head, I was like, that's some powerful stuff about him admitting that like I'm sorry, like I should have been there, or like it's okay, like I want you to be home, but I know it's not you. I thought that was some powerful stuff. Personally.
Yeah, he was a good anchor to the movie, and
you're right. That's a good point.
He'll probably be an unsung hero throughout the whole thing.
I mean,
you're right. That's a good word for it because we probably needed a little emotional weight in this film. And
he carried a lot of
He
emotion.
provided it.
Because you have to remember that he's the entire, like, he's the one that drives the action the entire film. We open with him, and then he's the one that keeps on saying, guys, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. So, I was personally very, very happy with him. Any other thoughts about the cast or anything else?
I enjoyed Beverly.
I thought Beverly was good.
I thought she was good, and I enjoyed like them. Any scene where they were all just being friends, like that scene in the river when they're all. I enjoyed that. That was nice.
I agree. And like when the boys are just acting like boys, it's like, let's be real. Most boys that age would have done the same thing. Come on.
It was fun. I enjoyed those little things. I enjoyed how accepting they were of her. And Ben, the fat boy, is Ben, right?
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. They just kind of, and they welcome the black kid too. Like they're welcoming. They're the losers, quote unquote. Like they'll take anybody. And I enjoyed that.
I think what's cool about this movie is when you see the kids all together and having fun, it almost brings you back to like when you were younger and like everything was just like perfect almost.
It's definitely nostalgia for sure.
So much nostalgia.
It brings back a lot of memories.
Very relatable to the characters.
Have any of you seen It Follows?
Yes.
I have
I have
actually.
not. It's a good movie.
I haven't seen it.
I felt a lot of like summer nostalgia with that.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I felt like that captured the feeling of growing up more than this did.
Really?
Not everybody has like a big group of friends like that.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, I think the reason that the director made these kids so different is so that people that can relate, like everyone can relate to at least one character.
Well, was that how it was in the book, where all the people, the part of the losers, were they all like very distinct, very, memorable characters in that sense?
Well, actually, the book, it's not linear. It doesn't start out with all of them as kids. It flip-flops back and forth.
I understand.
Makes sense.
Adults.
That's why that's probably what chapter 2 is about. But keep going.
But I'd probably be able to answer that better if I read the whole thing.
Probably. How did you guys feel about Pennywise in terms of his performance and all that?
Whoever the actor was, I gotta say,
Skarsgård.
Wow, what's his name?
Skarsgård. What's his first name?
Bill
Skarsgård. I feel like
Very good.
Was he in Pirates? Was he Bill Turner's dad? Bill
I
Turner's
do not
dad?
know. I can check.
I'm gonna. We'll check. Yeah, because I have seen that name before. Bootstrap Bill. I'm pretty sure that there is a Skarsgård in Pirates, and I believe it's Bootstrap Bill.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård. Okay, never mind. Wrong Skarsgård.
To tell with all that makeup.
Yeah. Wrong Skarsgård. Okay.
Wrong one.
I can maybe agree with you, Adam, where he may have gotten too much screen time, but whenever he did get screen time, at least for me, it was very uncomfortable for me. I was just not comfortable in my seat. My heart was like stopping at certain times. I just didn't even want to look at the screen. His voice, the way he moved, the way he talked, just very uncomfortable and made me really freaked out in the movie.
I definitely think whenever he was on the screen, he always dominated the screen. Like it was always like, all right, he's here. Like that's the thing that we're gonna pay attention to. But,
An interesting thing about that. Towards the end of the film, there was a moment where he was like dancing or something in the film, and like on the screen, like a little box, and they did a really interesting effect where the screen where like the stage he was on would move, but he would stay stationary, almost as if he was in the movie screen and gonna come out, which I thought was a really.
I didn't even notice that.
It was a really unnerving.
It was with
effect.
Beverly, right? Where she was all alone.
Yeah, because
he was dancing like this.
Yeah.
It was I think that's the effect that they were trying to go for. Like the screen is shaking, but he's like stationary in the middle of the screen.
It felt like he was coming toward you.
Isn't that a camera technique that they use where like the background seems like it's going forward, but the character is like...
I forget what it's called, but I'm pretty sure that's an established film technique.
Yeah, that was freaky as fuck.
How else did you, Evan? How'd you feel about
I thought Pennywise was good. He definitely was creepy. I was never really... I mean, he's scary when you first see him, but, you see him so much that it's just like, okay, here he is. Mm-hmm. He's here, and he's gonna fuck shit up. But, I don't know. I thought he did good. I'd never heard of Bill Skarsgård before.
Same here.
I've heard of the Skarsgård family because he's related to Stellan Skarsgård. And, what is his name? He was in Tarzan, the new Tarzan.
One of the other Skarsgård.
Yeah,
one of the really pretty, the True Blood guy.
Yeah, the True Blood guy. Fun fact: Will Poulter was originally signed on to play Pennywise.
Who is that?
Who's that?
He was the guy from We Are the Millers. The son.
How many of you seen The Maze Runner?
No way.
Oh,
The
fuck
guy-
that guy.
He was,
Yeah.
he was that guy that was like really mean to the main
with the
character.
baby face.
Yeah,
Yeah,
baby face.
baby
yeah.
face.
Baby face.
Oh my god.
The guy with the eyebrows.
Yeah. He was the police officer in Detroit.
Yeah, he
remember?
was
What the hell?
Yeah, he was gonna be Pennywise.
That's really
under Harry
strange.
Fukunaga.
He would have been a creepy Pennywise.
I don't know. He seems too baby
Young?
face. Yeah, too young.
Well, that's what the makeup is for.
Yeah. I don't know how that would have gone. That's really strange.
It's tough to tell because I don't know, like, I mean, there was obviously like a lot of CGI and stuff like that. I'm not sure like how much of it was practical.
The CGI though was very well done, almost to the point where you couldn't tell what was CGI and what was actual, just like real shots.
It was pretty good.
It helps that it was like really otherworldly kind of thing.
I loved the effects that they did on his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really
Yeah,
cool.
that was really cool.
I thought that was really awesome.
I agree. I think definitely they did a very good mix of practical and special effects for
I
Pennywise.
think one of my favorites forms was the lady from the painting
right.
for the Jewish kid, for Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know what it. Again, I didn't really have context for what he was doing and why he was going after people in such ways, but it was really cool to see her up and about from the painting. I thought that was really cool.
I have no idea what the painting was supposed to represent.
Why the
was
fuck would a rabbi have that fucking painting?
Yeah, I
It was
don't
a
understand.
It was a creep. Oh yeah, that's another thing. There would be like random creepy objects throughout this film that people
Yeah.
just seem to have.
Yeah.
Like the first scene in the basement, there was like these busts, these creepy looking busts of the founding fathers, like
Yeah.
staring at the kid, and I thought that was so strange to have in your
Yeah.
basement. And I thought, like, what the hell, Mom and Dad? And that would be what he would capitalize.
Oh, another
on.
thing too. In the beginning scene, like it's raining and the mom's like playing the most like creepy,
Yeah.
depressing music on the piano. I was like, damn,
I'm telling
mom,
you.
why don't you play some rock or something?
Pennywise has drained this town of its spirit.
Yeah.
Except the kids.
Except the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're pure
Mm.
until
They
stuff
get
happens
eaten.
to them.
Right. So we've talked a lot about like the things that we love. Is there anything else that you guys want to touch on that you really, really liked about this film that you thought it did very
Anybody
well?
have any favorite scenes they want to talk about?
Oh, for sure. I definitely have a couple. What
Yeah,
about you guys?
same.
I think my favorite scene is probably the beginning, the very beginning,
The very beginning. So
The
with,
opening scene.
the opening scene.
Yeah, that was pretty
Definitely
good.
the strongest scene
Georgie.
with Pennywise. I loved
Probably.
Billy. I loved his screen time that he had. It almost like it just got your emotions going when you found that he died. And also with Georgie, like losing Georgie and everything like that just like got me going as well.
For like the 3 minutes that you see between Georgie and Billy, you could tell that they're tight. Like you
Yeah.
could see the bond between them. Though I will say, in the beginning, I thought Billy did this one thing. I was like, all right, dude, that's terrible acting. You know, like when he said he
I
was
heard
sick.
you laugh.
When he said that he was sick, he was like. I was like, come on, man. Are you faking it? Like, do you just not want to hang out with your brother? What's going on? Because that was horrible. But I think that I agree the opening scene is definitely very, very strong. It sets, like you said, it sets the tone for the film immediately.
That's a good deal.
Any of you guys have any other favorite scenes?
I like the projection.
Oh, dude, the projector scene
that
was,
was-
that was incredible.
That was really good.
Totally. I
Because
was gonna say that.
yeah. I mean, for me, I think the part that scared me the most because there were so many times where I thought I was like, okay, this is it, it's over, like it's done. But I just kept on like, oh no, it's not done. Oh no, it's not done. Oh no, he's actually there. And it was like, oh my god, it just keeps on going and going.
That was really cool.
I thought that was very imaginative and very, very like.
Agreed.
I wouldn't say like that's not something I'm gonna like be scared of like before I go to sleep, but that's definitely probably one of the most unnerving parts of the film for me. I was just like, oh my god, like that was like full. Oh my god.
Agreed. That was so cool. Just watching it unfold.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like you brought up how one of the scarier parts of this thing is that there is no safe space, and that they're just in their basement. They're just looking at a map.
In the garage.
In the garage, and they're looking at a map, and then he can still be there.
You're fucking out on the street.
Yeah, you're out on the street. You know, like there is no safe space.
There is no safe space.
If you're like out of sight of somebody.
Freddy Krueger, you got to be asleep. You know, Chucky's a doll. You'll be okay.
Right.
I think Daleks can't go upstairs.
I think that's almost why Pennywise had to have so much. I think that's why he had to have so much screen time though, just because.
He had to have.
Yeah, because like it's almost like to remind the audience and to remind the kids that they're not safe anywhere.
Well, see, he didn't have to be on the screen for me to remember that he's there.
Mm.
Like, he could still
like Rob said, they could have done a lot more subtle things, like having the balloons or just having weird things in the background.
Yeah, like to mess with their heads, like maybe things being moved without them. Like they put something down, something gets fucked up, maybe they got to redo it. Just little things like that to really unnerve people. I feel like that could have gone.
I think the bathroom scene accomplished that for me.
That was really good.
I agree.
The fact that she's, you know, alone, away from everybody, and he gets her at her most vulnerable.
In the bathroom where you're most vulnerable.
Yeah.
I don't know why, in God's name, she thought to be. There's some voices down there. I want to stick a tape measure down there. Let's see if that does anything.
Yeah. So they did stupid things with kids sometimes.
Yeah, they put themselves
they
into
veered
pretty...
off from the crowd.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's any other.
Evan, you have any standout scenes that come into your head?
No, you guys basically covered it already.
I also enjoyed the final Pennywise fight scenes.
I enjoyed it.
Again, there was not a scare factor for me at that point, but I enjoyed just the camaraderie factor and the teamwork that like everybody did their little thing. Ben, there was this one little moment where Ben was like, he tried to gnaw at Pennywise's arm, and it was really funny. Like, yeah, you go, buddy. Like, I was really into it.
I don't know how about you guys feel, but when you first see like Pennywise's like lair, his house, and you see like people floating, the first thought that I got was like, this is going to like some science fiction territory right now.
Oh,
like,
you thought that'd be.
This is like not that it was, but like this is like something that you see in a science fiction novel. Like he's collecting their essence or whatever. Like I almost wanted to see like, is he an alien? Is he from like a different dimension or something like that?
I think he is an alien in the TV series movie.
I don't know.
Yeah, because he at the very.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! I was like, what are you talking about?
At the very end.
I don't know. Socks.
So just for context, there's a furry hot dog in the room right now.
The very end of the old movie, though, he's actually a giant spider.
What?
And he gets defeated by a turtle.
That's the end.
What?
That's the end.
He gets defeated by a turtle. That's
What?
why when they were in the lake, they mentioned, there's a turtle in the lake. Remember that scene?
Right.
Yeah.
There was a
In the
couple of
movie,
turtles.
And then the Legos that he was
Yeah,
holding was
he
a
was
turtle.
holding the Lego turtle.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I think the second half might incorporate those two things.
That's very interesting.
That would be weird if he was like in this instance he was like some sort of demon, some sort of evil spirit.
Mm.
It would have been really weird if he was an alien.
Yeah.
Because that would be like what kind
He's
of.
very old, though. He's very old.
I mean, I kind of don't want to find out the backstory because I feel like that often makes it less scary. But then again, I'm not even scared of him anymore.
Imagine if there was like a fucking race of Pennywise aliens.
Yeah.
You know, like what kind of creature develops like into that thing?
Yeah, I mean, like.
I think that's what freaks everyone out, though, because Pennywise isn't supposed to be representing like an actual creature. It's supposed to represent your fear.
He's just
He's an embodiment of fear.
Exactly.
It almost reminds me of, like, remember Evan at the end of True Detective when he goes into the thing and then he sees, like...
That's exactly what I thought.
That's what I thought, too. That's literally
that show.
exactly what I thought.
That dimension.
Yeah, like
thing.
the space and
We
whatnot.
should do that next.
And then he comes and what's his face comes out. That's literally what I thought of that scene. But one scene that I was like, wow, that was really well done was in the very beginning when you're first introduced to the black kid and he's trying to deliver the meat.
Oh,
and then,
yeah.
And then there's the meat
Definitely.
door that comes out. And then like there's the hands.
Uh-huh.
And then you see Pennywise and you just see his eyes. I thought that was incredible. I was like, wow, like. Okay, I'm a nerd right now.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
I almost felt like the hands thing was a little too much for me anyway. Like it was, I don't know, it felt too on the nose. But I didn't get the context of the burning people until later.
Right.
So again, context would have been nice.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was Pennywise messing around, like, ooh, scary hands.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
This movie felt like a very like modern day worse, not worse in a sense bad, but like horror film worse Goonies movie.
Yeah,
To
like
me.
Goonies with supernatural clown. Yeah.
It just felt like that type of movie.
I mean, you bring up a good. That's actually a good point to bring up because I like the fact that we're getting more of these. Or it seems like we're getting more of these movies that are led by like kids because I feel like
Child actors,
we don't get that anymore.
You're right.
In the '80s, we got that a lot with like E.T., Goonies, like you
It was a
mentioned,
thing.
Stand By Me, a whole bunch of other
To
films.
the point where it's now nostalgia for the
to
80s
have that.
to have that.
Yeah, because you don't see those kind of films anymore. And I think it's a shame. I think kids deserve to have movies that are about them.
Mhm.
But that's my opinion. That's what personally why I love Super 8 so much is because you don't see movies like that anymore. But that's besides the point.
Great.
Super 8 was amazing.
Oh yeah, I love Super 8. Does anyone else have any standout scenes that they want to highlight in their head?
Beverly, anytime they're being friends was great. Yeah, I think that's all the standout scenes.
Oh, that one scene where that kid gets killed by Pennywise, the
Which
bowling.
one?
When he goes down by himself. looking for Ben.
The first one.
That was freaky. That was probably
That was
one of the
pretty
scariest
freaky.
scenes for me.
That was. You mean like
The
when
kid
he-
with the spray, the
Yeah, when he had the
flamethrower?
spray and the flame.
Yeah.
Keanu
That
Reeves?
was
Yeah,
actually
Keanu
my
Reeves. Yeah,
favorite.
that's what I said. He looked like. Yeah, that's what you said. He looked like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I was like,
All I saw was
That was
Spencer
my
from
biggest
iCarly.
jump scare in the whole movie.
that was pretty
believe it or
freaky
not.
because like you found us, and then all of a sudden you got these zombie kids,
Yeah.
which means he was afraid. Wait, were those kids? Were they the kids he was chasing after?
No, those are the people missing. So I think deep down he feared also being
He feared
going
being-
missing too.
It's interesting to like look at like what happened to these kids. Do you know? I didn't miss the like first 10 minutes. What was the first girl's name?
Betsy.
They don't ever show her getting
yeah,
caught.
she
though.
was. Yeah,
Oh, they
we
didn't?
never saw
Yeah.
that. We
No.
saw his brother.
But the thing is, like,
Georgie.
it doesn't like with Georgie. Pennywise never embodied something that Georgie
it was
feared.
just-
It was just
it was just
lured.
himself.
It just lured
Yeah.
him in. He did the classic pedophile.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
talk
Hey,
nice.
buddy.
Yeah.
He was afraid that his brother would be mad at him.
Oh, that is
Oh,
true.
yeah.
That is true. Actually, I didn't think about that. You're right.
Yeah.
That's actually very true, Rob.
That's a little attention to thought there.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be cool to kind of go back and check that out. But yeah, that was a really creepy scene. I was like kind of like oh, it's gotta be the fucking Asian guy.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta take him out first. See how it is.
Were you guys surprised that he bit off Georgie's arm?
Probably. Yeah.
I kind of
Wow.
was.
Shit.
I was more surprised that it was like off, like, and you like saw it decapitate. I was like,
And it was
oh,
just
I was like,
bleeding and
okay, we're out here.
bleeding, yeah.
I don't know where the old lady was.
Yeah.
She was like literally right there. How did you not hear him scream? But then again, that brings up the point too. Like, remember with the dad when he went into the bathroom that was supposed to be full of blood, and he was like, I don't see anything.
Yeah.
Again, it
Oh.
goes back to like the
Adults
kids
are
are the only
useless.
ones that are able to see it,
Wait, did they find Georgie in the end?
No,
No.
Georgie's dead.
or
Georgie-
he was floating up with them.
Maybe.
I guess maybe
Because it's implied that all those kids are.
Oh yeah,
fine.
they're all dead.
unless a kiss somehow brings all of them back to life.
Like,
I'm pretty sure that was a one-time thing though.
they were all
with Beverly.
lowering. Like,
Yeah.
so were they all
Oh,
dead?
that's right. I'd like to imagine that that the kiss thing. I guess it's because I was trying to think what could Pennywise's essence relies on you being afraid of him,
Right.
and so why would a kiss undo whatever thing he
Because-
does?
Well, she wasn't afraid of him though.
No.
He was afraid of
She-
kissing her.
He was afraid
why.
of admitting his affection for her.
Oh, and
Ben.
he faced his fear.
That's why.
Exactly.
Ah!
Right?
Ah!
That's brilliant. That's brilliant storytelling right
Adam and
there.
I, like,
Did you guys get
shared
this
a
right
little-
away?
Yeah, he
or-
got that right. I was like,
Okay.
wow, that's right.
I was like, Adam,
Because
he was scared of showing love.
okay, because I just attributed it to like love opposite of fear, but
No.
that's even I like that better.
I mean, yeah, remember all of them conquered their fears. Like even
Yes.
even the black kid, he overcame his fear of the bully by literally throwing him down the well.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy was tormenting
brutal.
him.
Yeah.
That was brutal.
So if that kid hadn't had a crush
That was
on
so messed up.
Beverly, she would have not been able to. Bring her
it
back?
seems like it,
Is that
unless
what that
unless
was?
Billy did it. Unless Billy was afraid to tell her how he felt too.
Interesting.
But she also wasn't afraid of the clown though. That's
probably-
why she
yeah.
survived.
Mhm.
All the other kids that were floating were dead.
Really?
That's for sure.
Were they?
No doubt.
It seems like they were, but I don't know.
I'm not sure because he said like he didn't eat them yet. They were still there,
Mhm.
and it seemed like he was like saving them up for like so he could eat throughout. So I think they might be alive. But they saw at the end there was like this. He saw Georgie's coat.
Right.
And
And it's implied that Georgie's dead.
Yeah.
It's implied. And it's also weird too. I always found like Pennywise's tactics weird. Like, why didn't he kill the Jewish kid? Like he just bit him and was like, all right, well, I guess it's nice
I
that
thought he was in the process of
He was
feeding
prob-
on him. That was my.
No, I mean like he took one bite out of Georgie and his arm was off. It's
Yeah.
like they're coming for you, dude. Maybe you should take out one of them. I don't know. It just seemed like kind of odd.
I think he's trying to scare them and lure them all in.
Could be. It
Wants
could be
to
it.
get he was banking on the fact that they would all just freak out and ditch.
I even like the ultimatum he gave them in terms of like I'll just take Billy.
That was
off.
really
I thought that was cool.
interesting.
I thought that was very
forgot
cool.
about that.
Which
And
part was it?
actually, you know what? I thought that was how it was gonna end.
Mhm.
I thought they were gonna leave him.
Yeah,
Really?
I thought that was. I thought that
really
was.
thought
I thought
that.
that was what going to be part two was about
Especially-
them coming back.
Exactly, especially after he encouraged them, after the
Mm.
kid encouraged, like, guys, just go. I did bring you here. It's
Mm.
okay.
For him.
I really thought they were all gonna leave and feel really bad about it in the next movie.
Right.
Oh, I would have been really pissed off.
Yeah.
I would have been pissed off too. I was like, "What's wrong with you?"
Like,
Hell no.
don't you understand how he works?
Yeah.
Well, in the old movie, in the 1990s
Yeah.
movie, they actually defeat him just like how they did in this one.
And what's
But
that?
Beating the shit out.
What was that?
well, they throw like a silver. I forget what it is. They throw something silver at his face, and then it's pretty much like they're overcoming their fear.
Okay.
But
Right.
then he comes back again in the second half, as adults when they're adults, 27 years later.
Right.
So that's why there's going to be a sequel and everything.
Well, yeah. Is it going to be harder for them to go get him now? They've already conquered him once. Why not again? Will it be extra hard?
I don't know. Maybe he has new tactics.
Yeah.
Apparently, he turns into a spider.
Yeah. It was
And he attacked their Chinese food.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Isn't that how they realize he's back?
Man, don't mess with the Chinese food. Come on, man.
They're
Let us have
where
our
it hurts.
peace. Let us have our peace. Let me have my dumplings.
You saw the movie today, right? You saw the
I
miniseries
did.
today. What was Chinese food? What?
I don't remember the Chinese food part.
They went after Chinese food, and all of a sudden they're Chinese.
Oh, they're all
fortune
eat.
cookies
That's
are, like,
when they had the reunion.
eyeballs.
That's
Yeah.
when they had
Fortune
the
cookies
reunion.
or eyeballs.
Yeah.
But
That's like
It's
like in
great.
what we do in the shadows. Oh, you like spaghetti?
Oh yeah, you like bisgetti?
the black guy is writing. He's like a novelist, or is like writing it for a newspaper or something like that. And then
Oh,
he's like warning everyone that Pennywise has come back to the town because he's the only one out of the group that stayed in the town.
Oh.
And he's like,
Why?
I have no idea.
Hmm.
I have no idea.
Maybe to keep watch.
Yeah.
But then because
Don't
of
wanna
the
say
pact,
keep-
they went back to the town.
But he was warning them to stay out.
No, he wasn't warning them to stay out. He was warning them that Pennywise was back,
Oh,
and
okay.
because of the pact, they have to go back now to
Gotcha.
finish it up.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. I think I did everything. I forgot about the kid telling them Pennywise is packed. I really thought that was how it was going to end.
I wonder if he was defeated in previous ones. Like, remember they talked about the Easter egg explosion? I wonder
Easter
if that
egg
was like some
explosion.
sort of like last-ditch effort to kill Pennywise.
Maybe.
Oh wow.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I didn't even think about
Weren't
that.
there like a lot of kids?
A lot of people like the first one he said like the
88 children or
like
something?
he said like it was supposed to be like a beaver capturing town and it was like 91 people and he said all of them were killed. It's like god damn Pennywise just like killing everyone. Well then again that also again this goes back to like what are the rules and what are not. Like if it's 91 people I'm sure some of them are adults. Does he go for adults only sometimes? Like how's
I don't know.
I don't know.
Scary
Well, I
time
think
back in the
adults
day.
are less prone to be as freaked out as kids.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's less of a juicy morsel.
Mm.
That's why he preys on the kids more,
Right.
probably.
In the book, one of the things that happened was these two gay guys. They were adults, were being hung over the bridge, like.
What's wrong with this town?
I know.
It was the
They were-
80s,
They
man.
were all adults, and they killed the one guy, dropping him over the bridge, and then all of them go down there after him, and they see Pennywise holding the gay guy's, the dead gay guy's arm, like, tore off his arm, it's over his shoulder, and all of a sudden, like, the sky is just covered in balloons, and then they tell the cops, and no one believes them. So, it might not be the fact that it's kids, at least in the book. It might just be adults who are, I guess, compromised in a situation. Like, compromised by fear.
Interesting.
Because I mean, well,
Well, even Ben mentions in that one scene, where he's like announcing all the people that died. He's like, some adults have died, some teens have died, but
did say that,
mostly
yeah.
kids.
yeah.
So
Well, yeah, maybe it is that. Maybe because kids are easy because they're that purity of thought, and then they'll be extra afraid. But
Well,
if
maybe-
you get an adult in a compromising situation where they have a lot of fear,
Right.
or they're weak of mind or
Right.
or spirit, that would be where he would pounce as well.
And maybe it's like he only feeds on the kids, but like he'll have kids like do his bidding in terms of like remember how the bully killed his
Yeah.
dad. Maybe that's how the adults die, not necessarily
Yeah.
like Pennywise feeds
Could
on
be.
them. Maybe
Could be.
interesting. We're getting to like some hardcore fan theories right now.
That's right.
Damn.
We got
Um,
it.
He's very layered.
I'm trying to remember if there's any other scenes that I definitely want to highlight. I really like the scene where Billy goes into the basement just because of the fact that I was like, man, this has nope written all over it. Just nope, nope, nope. Like
yeah, they made a lot of dumb decisions.
yeah,
in
like
that movie.
the lights on,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
he sees like all the footprints, and then he starts going. I was like, man, come on, you know you don't want to go down there.
That was
Come
pretty
on.
creepy. I was pretty creeped out by Pennywise having like a Georgie hand puppet.
Yeah,
That was pretty creepy.
Mm.
Gotta say.
Was the basement flooded? Like, was
No, that was
No,
just
that's
him.
just what he
Okay.
sees.
Yeah.
Sewers.
But yeah, that scene like I wasn't scared, but I was just like, come on, man, like nope, don't do it, don't do it. But anyone else have any other scenes before we kind of go into things that we didn't like about the film?
No.
Didn't go forward.
All right, so obviously we've been praising this film a lot, and it's clear that we all, at
Enjoyed
the
it.
very least, like it and enjoy
Yeah.
it. What problems do you have with the film at all?
The ending.
Yeah.
What was the problem with the ending for you?
I felt like the ending was like super rushed, Because like after they kill it, like they're like, oh, the bodies are coming down, and that's the last you hear of it. You don't hear about the status of the bodies. You don't hear about like whether like anyone like found anything. He's just, oh nope, cut to the kids making the pat. I was like, but what happened?
Like, did they tell the cops? Like, hey, we found all these bodies. What happened? You people didn't believe us?
Yeah, they glossed over a really important aspect, or I don't know, maybe it wasn't important to them, but it was important to me because I wanted to know. So in that aspect, I thought they were like really trying to like tie loose ends together. But I don't know, maybe it had something to do with the runtime because it was like over 2 hours long.
Yeah.
So they had to like trim the fat, and I guess that was
the fat
on the cutting board. But I don't know. I felt like the ending could have been a bit more polished.
Anything else that you had wrong with the film, Evan?
I hated the fact that like at the very end they couldn't just leave it. They couldn't just call it. No, the end credits there was like it. Chapter 1. The collective groan in our theater was palpable. Because I was just like, you could have just left it. It's like, I knew they were going to make a sequel, but you could have just fucking left it. But no, you have to make it obvious. I have a problem with that because like I feel like that's one of the main reasons I don't really like care for horror movies now because like they rely so much on sequels because they know it'll make so much money.
Well, to be fair, the novel, they're only doing what's in the novel. Like part 2 is
adults.
They're just continuing what's in the novel.
The novel's so long and detailed, it's gonna take a lot longer of screen time to show everything.
Right.
I could have swore the official title of the movie was It, the Losers Club. Like It, the Losers Club.
I don't remember.
Really?
Maybe in a different country. I don't know.
Maybe.
Like that's the title of the part 1.
I heard that the part 2 is going to be strictly a little bit more on the adults and a lot more about Pennywise, just like his history and everything.
Interesting.
So
I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll see when it comes out.
That should be weird.
Okay. Anything else, Simon?
That's about it.
How about you, Rob? Anything that you had wrong with the film?
It was enjoyable. Definitely not a dull moment.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't like was how it evoked laughter when I was not expecting that going in. I don't know why that happened. I think it had to do with the actors and the script. Just to, like you were saying, what the? I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, those little moments.
I don't know. It kind of threw me off. Ruined the atmosphere of horror.
I could totally see how some people would not like this movie because of the lack of tension eventually, and the lack of fear because of those funny moments. And I don't know how people respond to having a literal movie monster. At least modern audiences, we're used to movies taking a more subtle approach, having either no visible entity or having only glimpses. So I'm curious to see if people would respond well. I mean, it is a clown, but I can, and especially with, like Rob said, there was those quips even in the middle of the terror sometimes. It would cut through the tension, and I understand why people wouldn't like that.
I agree.
It almost seems like the filmmakers kind of took the easy way out because the faithful adaptation of the novel would be extremely difficult.
Really depressing.
Well,
yeah, and difficult to capture. Like I saw Misery on Broadway, and when she hobbles Paul Sheldon, I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I love that movie.
Everyone started laughing in the play, and it just ruined it. It sucked, and there were some moments of that.
That's hard to do in a Broadway.
I honestly think that laughter for any type of movie, whatever genre, kind of kills the movie itself. I actually mentioned this to you and Adam.
Even comedies, Andrew?
I think the approach that people take today, they're afraid to show their true genre sometimes, almost. Marvel seems to take an approach where they have to have a lot of comical satire.
Interesting.
And even when they have like a serious scene, like I remember Doctor Strange when he's putting on this thing and there's like fighting against his cloak.
Yeah.
Like they kind of ruin. I can completely agree with that because they kind of like ruin what they're going for.
Yeah, everyone's too cynical to believe in.
That's so fascinating because it used to be now we had genres. The film itself developed and genres were created, and then eventually we're like, oh, we came to expect things. So eventually we're like, all right, we don't want to be like that. We want to turn things on their heads. So we started to mix. There's such a thing as dramedies. There's such a thing as like those horror comedies that you sometimes find. And it's funny how you think that. I've never heard that interpretation before. That movies are now afraid to be their true genre.
I think it's because
I've always disliked. I like mixing. My dad has always he's in the back of my mind a lot sometimes when I watch movies because he'll hate. He's I don't know if he's a good example. Usually he doesn't like endings that aren't quote unquote good endings. But some people, like my sister, she wants to know immediately what kind of genre this movie is, so she can go right in and she'll know what to expect. I don't like that. I want to be surprised sometimes. But it's interesting how you think that mixing is not is inherently not a good thing.
Yeah, because I think it kind of kills. It can kill the movie. Like if it's a comedy, then it's expected. But like take a movie like The Shining, that's probably my favorite horror movie of all time.
Yeah.
There are like no.
Oh yeah, that'd be
comedy.
Yeah.
You know, there's like no comedy scenes in that type of movie. This movie was overdoing the comedy, in my opinion. I completely agree with Rob on that.
I mean, personally, I was fine with the comedic relief that was in it, and I think it's important to have some sort of comedic relief because if you keep the tension high too much, it kind of destroys like you can only be at the fever pitch of emotion for so long before you get exhausted.
But if you wanted to go into this movie and be like scared out of your mind, you would totally be disappointed. Right?
I agree.
Yeah.
Like we've all been saying, none of us were truly that scared besides Andrew, who has a phobia of clowns.
That's just my bias.
Yeah. Like there's definitely some unnerving scenes like we already mentioned, but I was definitely never like truly scared, especially like again I always compare it to Sinister, and maybe that's just because that's just what appealed to me in terms of fear. But I've never been more scared.
It's kind of a subjective thing. Fear.
Yeah, fear is definitely subjective. But anything else that you had wrong with the film, Rob?
Any frustrations?
Like I said before, I could have used some more subtlety. I'm pretty scared.
Yeah.
To be honest, yeah. Because I find just the nature of it so scary. The fact that he has total control of you.
There are no rules. There are no rules.
Right.
There is no safe place.
Yeah.
But the comedy atmosphere just kind of killed it.
As much as I've talked about how I feel about the movie, will I be a little uneasy tonight? Probably. I'm not going to be completely like at rest. But yeah.
Yo, Austin, it's funny you mentioned it because I went into your bathroom.
Oh yeah.
And I noticed there was like another door. Like I was just washing my hands, and every now and then I'll look at my corner. That door better not open.
It definitely makes you think.
Yeah.
But I mean, I doubt it's like you'll be thinking about it for like the next week or so or something like that, or like having trouble hardcore trouble sleeping.
The last thing that did that to me was Insidious.
Insidious.
Because I was like, oh, don't fall asleep.
Yeah, Insidious freaked me out too.
Paranormal Activity too. I had trouble sleeping.
All right, Austin. Well, do you have anything wrong with the film, man?
I don't think so. Nothing that I haven't said. Nothing that really ruined things for me. If anything, maybe small things that took me out of the
experience.
Yeah, but not in a way like something was unrealistic, but just my own thought. Like I was thinking about how. Like the intense bullying that was going on, I was just like, what the hell? And I would just I would go off on a mental tangent. I'm just like, what the hell about the 80s was so because it's so different now. Like I don't know, maybe I've just been blessed enough to not experience this, and even the people around me are kind of similar. Like we've never had such intense bullying.
Stephen King writes a lot of bullies,
but it seems like it was a thing. I had a theory once that because we grew up with these movies that showed us like these terrible, terrible bullies, we all didn't want to be the bad guy of the film of our lives. So we decided not to be bullies, or at least to the same extent. But so really no. I didn't have anything I didn't like too much about it. I enjoyed a lot of the sequences, a lot of the visual effects were great. Pennywise was really cool.
You could definitely tell that this was a movie where they put their money where their mouths were. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've seen so many horror movies where I'm just like, that looks so cheap. Like,
really?
You definitely skimped out on the makeup. You definitely skimped out on like the CG or
there was no
or like making
all the Insidious sequels.
Yeah, or the set design. Like you could tell like they really didn't put in a lot of money. But for this one, like you could tell they definitely put in a lot of effort to make everything look realistic and actually look creepy. Like I don't know, like that house that they went to. What's it called? I don't know what kind of house that was. Like someone needs to tear that thing down. That's like that has nope written all over it.
Who leaves that shit?
Yeah, who leaves that up? And why would you like when you go on the sides like I ain't staying in here? Hell no.
It's probably going to be better on the second view though, because like I said, I lacked context for a lot of the beginning scary parts, and I wondered why these random things were coming. What was Pennywise's idea for becoming the leper, the man with the limp? I just thought that was really strange, and it just felt like gratuitous scariness. But now you understand. Right. Yeah, so probably the second viewing would be better, and so maybe that would have improved my viewing if we got a little more explanation on the kids' fears before we saw Pennywise.
What if you had just? Oh, sorry. What if you just had like one instance of like kids like, oh, I'm scared of like X.
Gosh, I hate lepers.
You know, I'm scared of X, and then Pennywise comes at you, and then you're like, oh, that's how it works. Would that have worked for you?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if I would have liked some way to know, because I mean, like, I didn't know that man was a leper. I mean, maybe that would
over the top.
Maybe that would have been better. And then like Adam mentioned the scene with the hands in the factory. I don't know the history of the factory when I saw that. It would have been better to know that this place had been burned down and those children or workers died. That would have been nice to know. That would have made it more scary because it's not just hands with makeup on them. You know, it's better.
The one thing that kind of took me out of the film was when it kind of turned into a clip show, almost. Where you just have this scene of like Pennywise tormenting this kid, and then the scene of Pennywise tormenting this kid.
I agree.
It was relentless.
And each of those scenes was good in their own sense, but it just almost turned into like a clip show, or it was just kind of like, you know, this is kind of
next.
Like this isn't really. I guess this is adding like context to like what Pennywise can do and what the kids are afraid of and building up tension, but it's not really like.
They don't feel cohesive in terms of going together.
Yeah.
They just feel stitched together.
It's like all these things happen, and then we come back and talk about them, and then the movie can go forward. So it's almost like disjointed.
I definitely agree. I don't know what I would recommend to the filmmakers to fix that, but I definitely agree. It felt like I said, like it just kept on going. It's like, all right,
breathing room.
Just like, okay, I get it. I get it. I get it. It's Pennywise. I get it. He's scary. Okay, come on. That's like, it's like relentless for me. But keep going, Jay.
I think maybe what could have been better is if it wasn't just like a dedicated sequence, like you just had like like Rob said, like something more subtle, where it's not just Pennywise is here, he's like full on here. It's just like little weird things happen to the kids.
That would have been great.
That would have been more unnerving, and then you kind of like hit him with the projector scene, and then you know, and we all freak out. We're like,
I mean, he had a chance to like get every single one of them. Like he I don't know why he didn't get Billy. Like, Billy was, like, literally right there. Pennywise was just slow. He could have gotten germaphobe. Like, literally, he was there.
Maybe he has to spice him up before he eats. He's got to really instill a fear and then pounce.
Well, even when he had germaphobe, though, he heard the voices of Billy and, what was the other kid's name?
Which kid?
The kid, when they were in the house.
Oh, no, I was more talking about, remember when he first meets the leper?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, he could have literally taken him right there.
Yeah.
So again, questioning. I don't understand his tactics at all, personally.
Well, I guess he's like, you know, kind of omnipresent, but he's still got to catch them. And he was like, and Billy kind of like escaped the. I think once you kind of break away from him, then maybe you're like, I think that's when he can't get you. Like if you can kind of like exit the situation, then he kind of like you can't do anything. Or if somebody breaks into that situation, that's when it seemed like people were saved and whatnot. But that's just speculation on his powers.
Right.
The more you talk about Freddy Krueger, the stronger he gets and the more control he can exert. It could be something similar.
Could be. I mean, that makes sense.
That's also how the Babadook operated.
Babadook.
I don't even get me started on that movie.
You didn't like it?
No.
That movie was very bad.
I
wasn't even afraid of that movie.
I hated that movie.
Did you like that?
That kid was
Babadook.
unbelievably a pain.
I mean,
yes.
I hated that movie.
I wanted that kid to die. In all honesty.
Did bring me and X together, but that's besides the point. Anyway, is that it, Jake? Is that all your criticisms of the film?
It's pretty much I think that's my major criticism. Otherwise, I would say that the kids kind of did stupid things, but it never really was like so over the top stupid. They always kind of had like some sort of exit strategy. They just pushed the envelope,
right?
So I could forgive them.
Like it was never like took me out of the film. I was like, oh my god, like I can't believe this is happening. I don't even care anymore.
Yeah, it was like it was just they were in unfortunate circumstances.
Right. I forgot to mention before. Did anyone just laugh when like what's his name, the bully pulled up the rope and like there's like 5 kids trying to catch it and none of them got it? I was like, come on guys, like you deserve to have that. If 5 of you couldn't get that rope, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, they set themselves up for that.
They kind of
that was their fault.
They kind of allude to that incompetence in that they are just kids.
Nerds.
Loses. Anyway, all right, Andrew, you're up.
I think my biggest complaint is maybe we talked about this a little earlier. Maybe just not enough screen time for some of the characters.
I agree.
What was the black kid's name again?
Couldn't
Honestly,
tell you.
all I know is he was homeschooled and he was an outsider.
I don't even know his
call him
name.
homeschool.
That's how bad
We
it
can call him
was
homeschool.
for me. What?
Call him homeschool.
Was it Tom? Maybe I don't know.
I
He
don't
was
know.
homeschooled?
Yeah, that's what
That's what
they
they
called him,
they
homeschooled.
said he was the homeschooled kid.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I feel like he just just wound up in a couple scenes, and we didn't really get to know who he actually was. I
Yeah.
mean, he talked about it a little bit. Maybe he had like 6 lines in the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, he didn't really have that many.
He
I
was
mean,
there.
he had less than I would say like 8 minutes of screen time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I just figured he was.
You don't count the group shots, yeah.
Oh, you don't count that? Like
if,
alone?
if we don't, yeah.
No, even with the
Even with the group
oh,
shots,
I-
because I mean, some of those group shots were more than 8 minutes.
Even when he ditched Beverly and Billy from the house, and he
Yeah.
just like took his bike, I'm almost like you're ditching, but you weren't even in the group for that long.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like it's almost too early for you to leave. Because I don't think he was even with them when they were doing the cliff diving, was he?
No,
No.
he was not.
I think
You have any other?
that's pretty much my biggest complaint. Maybe a little bit with the humor. Rob said it earlier, but that's about it.
So I definitely have to say that this is very subjective for a lot of people. Like again, if you came in to be scared by this, maybe you will. But I know for me that it did definitely not accomplish that. I was unnerved for a couple of things, but I definitely was not that scared. I think that like you guys alluded to, I think definitely they could be a bit more subtle. I think personally, less Pennywise would have been better. We've alluded to a lot of my my kind of feedback. I personally didn't hear anything that really resembled a score or anything that like really captured the feeling of anything for me. Maybe I just didn't notice it. I don't know.
In the beginning there was. I didn't notice it after a while. But in the
Um,
beginning there was definitely like piano stuff.
I agree. And I think that, like I said, better character development would have been really, really good. Like we mentioned before, some of the best scenes are just seeing the kids interact and just be kids. And I would have at least enjoyed seeing those and having more breathing room. That definitely would have helped out a lot. But other than that, I don't think I have to, I don't want to come down too hard on this film because I don't think there's a lot wrong with it. Again, it reminded me a lot more of like an action film or like almost like The Raid, where it's kind of relentless in terms of what's happening on screen, just going. So yeah, I didn't really have any other criticisms. All right, guys, we've come to the end of the review. We'll go around and give your final thoughts, and we're gonna do our rating. Go ahead, Evan.
I was gonna give this film an 8, but because of the flaws I mentioned with like the ending and like
Yeah, the ending too. I agree.
yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Mhm.
I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I wasn't really all that scared by it, which is disappointing because like I had heard that it was like pretty terrifying.
Like horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I watched it, I was like, it wasn't that bad. So I was a little bit let
Yeah.
down by that.
Mhm.
But what saved it was the performances of the kids
Absolutely.
and like a lot of the atmosphere. Like it
Mhm.
it wasn't scary, but it was like really creepy and really
Mhm.
unnerving. There seems like, oh, I don't like this.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was good, and I recommend watching it, especially if you're a fan of the book. Why are you staring at me?
No, I'm just
Okay.
listening.
So you said 8. Oh no, 7.5, right?
Yeah.
7.5? Okay. Rob, please tell us your thoughts and your score of the film.
I think it'll have longevity. I think people will be watching it for a long time.
You think so?
I think so. I agree.
Yeah. I agree that the performances were all good all around, even if the director let them run wild a little bit. Maybe it was dedicated adaptation, but not the most ambitious.
Mm-hmm.
But I enjoyed it. I would either give it a 7.5 or an 8.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, I enjoyed it. I heard it was. I was not scared, and maybe I was looking to be a little scared. It surprised me in ways. It went in directions that I didn't think it would go, with the humor and the actual physical confrontation of Pennywise, which is interesting. It was I enjoyed my experience though. I could probably give it. I'd probably be the same as Rob. I think people should. You should if you enjoy monster movies, you should definitely go. I wouldn't expect a huge. I don't think it would stick with you as much as you might like, unless you're afraid of clowns. But maybe like a 7.5 or an 8.
Okay, Jake.
I thought it was a pretty unnerving film. There's a lot of tense scenes, both with Pennywise doing his thing, but for me mostly with just like really creepy stuff going on in the town. Just like kind of, I wouldn't say normal, but like more like this stuff happens in real life, which makes it kind of creepy. Pedophilia and abuse and kind of just in overbearing to the point of being like kind of like abusive in another sense, emotionally abusive, I guess. And so that was kind of like, and to hit on those themes I thought was kind of cool, because it's just like, you know, you're going from supernatural horror to like just very real horror. It freaked me out. There was definitely scenes, and I would give it a 7.8 on the logarithmic scale of spooks. That, you know, and otherwise I would say probably 8. I don't trust that rating right now, but that's like the best I can give. I think it was a solid film, and they did a good job with it.
Okay, Andrew.
I would say for this review, it's probably unlucky for me to rate this movie right now, because I'm probably the only one in this room that's afraid of clowns. But I would have to say, agree with the rating so far. I would give it an 8 out of 10. It did a horror movie justice for me, at least. It wasn't the scariest movie I've ever seen, but from some of the scenes in the movie, they are definitely memorable. So that is the most nerving part of the movie itself. Strong performances from the characters. I love the characters in this movie. And I love the guy that played Pennywise. So.
Did it meet your expectations? I know you had very high expectations.
Very
for this
did.
film.
It very much did.
Okay, good.
The old movie was terrible. I'm very glad.
It's really a nostalgia thing that we look back on.
Definitely nostalgia. When you were younger, it was probably scarier. Now it's like, what am I watching? But this one did justice to the Stephen King novel. Definitely.
Yeah, I think we've really, throughout the entire review, we kind of summed up the good parts and the bad parts. Actually, one thing that we kind of alluded to, I thought it was shot pretty well. It wasn't Roger Deakins, but I thought it was shot pretty well from what I saw. Performances all very good. The unnervingness, the creepiness is there. The scares not so much for me, but I think that a lot of the stuff that the film does well, the sense of, you know, this is the 80s, the apparent craziness and insanity of the town, Pennywise, the performances, and I think to me the strongest part of the film is the arcs that everyone goes through, the strong theme of fear, overcoming fear, banding together to get over that fear, and the strength of, you know, friendship and love and all that, but and like you said, the physical confrontation of that fear and getting over it. I think to me that's the best part. I'm very very happy about the heavy theme that they had in here, and seeing these characters go on this journey, and in a lot of ways it's a coming of age story, because overcoming your fears in a lot of ways is, you know, becoming you know, an adult in some ways. So I'm really happy with the film. I don't know if it lives up to my expectations, but my expectations are really high because people ridiculously overhyped it. But I do think it's one of the best crafted horror films in a very, very long time, even though I think it's more of an action film. I'd probably give it a full price. I think that this is definitely worth seeing in the theater, especially I think the theater experience probably enhances this film.
Yes.
If I'm completely honest with you, just because it's the legend of it, right? And I'm really looking forward to a sequel, and I hope that this kind of starts a trend in horror of you know, really treating the material correctly, and maybe for once we get better Stephen King adaptations, unlike The Dark Tower or nearly any other Stephen King adaptation.
Will everyone be willing to see the sequel?
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's cut our hands and make a promise.
I'm good. That is not necessary at all. All right, guys. Well, that concludes our review. Thank you so much for watching. Before we leave, of course, we got to go around and tell the people how they can follow you. Evan, please tell the people how they can follow you.
No.
Okay. All right, Ron. How can the people follow you?
You mean on social media?
Yeah.
If you want.
If you want, you don't have to.
So,
No peer pressure.
Some people here have like public figures. Like Mark has a blog. He promotes
I'll
that.
pass.
It's cool.
I'll pass.
I'm the same. If you know me, you know me. Watch the Long Run podcast. It's this really hip thing. I think you'd like it. Yeah.
Jake, you want them to follow you on anything besides ResearchGate?
Oh yeah, keep me on LinkedIn. Go listen to Evan's Spotify playlists.
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't think you've seen the last of me.
That's right. Oh, please no. Yeah.
Definitely not the last of Jake.
Jake.
And Andrew, how can the people follow you? One of the newest people of the Long Run podcast.
That's right. Our fan.
I just wanted to say thank you, Adam, Jake, Austin, and Evan, for having me here today. You guys can follow me on Facebook. I'm also part of the Breakfast Club Friendship group. So
right.
if you want to look into that, just look it up.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Me join too, guys.
Oh, I'm so happy
no,
you were here,
I'm really happy to have you guys there. And of course, if you want to follow me, definitely subscribe to Jacob's channel as well as my YouTube channel. Please check out esportsheaven.com for any of the coverage that I do for esports events. Please follow Rutgers Esports on every type of social media out there. It's all just Rutgers Esports. My Twitter handle is Adam_bomb with 2 M's. And of course, I didn't really say it before, but I actually do work for TESPA, which is a part of Blizzard Entertainment now. The opinions expressed in this video do not are my own. They do not reflect those of my employer. Disclaimer.
Yeah, my opinions
Blizzard hates it.
My opinions don't reflect the NSF's views and whatnot.
But with that being said, of course, please follow all of TESPA's social media. It's almost all Team TESPA, and of course, Mark's not here, so please follow him on social media as well. White Guy with Netflix.
Yeah.
At the Real Krapinsk on Facebook and Twitter, from what I recall. And I mean, other than that, yes, Jake.
Go follow Noodle Mage.
Yes, Noodle Mage.
Noodle Mage.
Please check out Noodle Mage. Ethan,
and
who's
Tumblr.
Unfortunately not
And
here
Twitter.
today.
Noodle Mage. He's busy grinding away at art school.
He's at Worm School.
We're
School.
very proud of him, and we
Very.
think that he's gonna it's gonna be a cakewalk for him because he's already gone through college, getting a computer science degree.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
It'll be good.
this will be fine.
It's gonna be fine. But unfortunately that's the end of the review today. I'm sorry, but we're gonna try and be back again as soon as we can. I don't know what the next film is gonna be, honestly, but
Blade Runner.
maybe.
Oh, I just want to say good luck on your adventure, Jake.
Yeah.
We're gonna miss you, man. But it's not like you're gonna be gone for that long. You'll be back.
I'll be around.
You'll be
somewhere.
back.
Play games with me.
Yeah. We'll have a gaming relationship.
Just call me. Not that far away. Come visit me.
And then another thing I also forgot to mention too. Please check out twitch.tv/XenosKing. That's where I do my weekly web show of esports news with my good friend Peter Lamb. And of course, just like how I closed there, I want to also thank everyone that watched, everyone that's listening.
Yes.
You
Thank
guys,
you so much.
you guys could be anywhere in the world doing it, whatever you want, but you're here listening with us, and for that we're very, very grateful. And I don't know what you could possibly see in this podcast compared to all the other podcasts.
Oh, I know what they think.
But we're really happy that you guys are listening, and we never do this kind of thing for the money. We're gonna do this discussion if it's recorded or not, but we're really happy to share this with you guys.
Pasión.
Yes, the passion,
La
indeed.
pasión.
Passion for life, as always. And all right, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and until the next episode, we'll see you guys. Have a great
Goodbye.
week. Have a great life.
Have a great life.
Oh yeah.